supply base is defined as a portion of the supply network that is actively managed by a buying company. The concept reviews effective business relationships with suppliers and ways to facilitate better management of supply base. Supply base, there are 3 steps of planning: qualifying and establishing and supply base. The first step is planning upfront ensures supply base building goals are attained. Develop a detailed timeline and maintain project funding, staffing, and support. Costs vary depending on costing and commodity counts, but accounting for third-party services, translator in, country travel, suppliers, entertainment bills, and give through budgeting. The most important is schedule meeting at a central location. If the company facilities are unavailable rent office space, confirm your meetings and agendas. Attend this week each supplier's email via email in 1 week advance of trip departure. Second step, qualifying suppliers through the on-site allows for swift transition to document suppliers qualification ahead of the starting date. This step usually takes 2 to 3 weeks depending on supply base size. Attain information upfront via request for information form and company overview 1 to 2 weeks in advance. Pre-qualify suppliers ahead of scheduling in-person meetings again and public. It is important to develop
what is RFI? RFI.
It is important to develop a scoring system that allow you and the home office team to communicate with the suppliers, rating and ranking. Last step. Establishing rapport with supply partners build last business. A well-planned sourcing trip will focus on establishing relationships with your prospective supply partners. Get to know the potential supply partners. Every culture is different, but allow for time to have lunch or dinner with your host to get to know them on a personal level where possible. Introduce the supply partner candidate to your extended team, like designers and engineers via video calls to further strengthen bond between companies. And I have a video about writing.
Supply chain relationships. Firms have directed significant attention toward working more closely with supply chain partners, including not only customers and suppliers, but also various types of logistics suppliers. To achieve coordination and integration among partners, development of meaningful relationships through the supply chain has become a high priority. There are 2 types of logistics relationships, vertical and logical. Vertical relationships refer to the traditional linkages between firms in the supply chain, such as retailers, distributors, manufacturers, and parts and materials suppliers. These firms relate to one another in the ways that buyers and sellers do in all industries, and significant attention is directed toward making sure that these relationships help to achieve individual firm and supply chain objectives. Horizontal relationship may be thought of as a service agreement between 2 or more independent logistics provider firms based on trust, cooperation, shared risk and investments, and following mutually agreeable goals. These companies belong to the same supply chain stage and normally produce or trade the same product. Intensity of involvement. As suggested by the figure, the range of relationship types extends from that of a vendor to strategic alliance. In context of traditional vertical context, a vendor is represented by a seller or provider of a product or service, and there is little or no collaboration with the buyer or purchaser. A relationship with a vendor is transactional, and parties to a vendor relationship are said to be at arm's length, that is, at a significant distance. This form of relationship suggests a relatively low or non-existent level of involvement between the parties. An arm's length relationship is appropriate for certain types of transactions, for example, one-time or multiple purchases of standard products or services. Alternatively, the in-relationship suggested by a strategic alliance, two or more business organizations cooperate and willingly modify their business objectives and practices to help achieve long-term goals and objectives. Strategic alliance is highly relational in terms of the firms involved. This form of relationship typically benefits partners by reducing uncertainty, improving communication, increasing loyalty, and establishing common vision. Alternatively, the challenges strategic alliance include the fact that it implies heavy resource commitments by the participating organizations and high switching costs. Leaning toward the strategic alliance, a partnership represents a customized business relationship that produces results for all parties that are more acceptable than would be achieved individually. Partnerships are frequently described as being collaborative. Forming a supply chain relationship. The figure outlines the steps in a process model to form a logistics relationship. Let us assume a model for a manufacturing firm, as it forms a relationship with a supplier of logistics services, for example, a transport firm, warehouseman, etc. Step 1. Perform strategic assessment. This first stage involves the process by which the manufacturer becomes fully aware of its logistics and supply chain needs and the overall strategies that will guide its operations. A logistics audit at this stage may bring following useful information. Business goals and objectives. Needs assessment from customer to supplier. Environmental factors and industry trends. Identification of gaps between current and desired performance. Step 2. Decision to form relationship. At this stage, a decision is made to form a relationship. For example, in a manufacturing firm, when the decision relates to using an external provider of logistics services, such as a trucking firm or express logistics provider, then careful assessment of company's core competency is considered. Step 3. Evaluate alternatives. Apparent levels of drivers and facilitators may suggest the most appropriate type of relationship to consider. If neither the drivers nor the facilitators seem to be present, then recommendation relationship is transactional. Alternatively, when all parties to the relationship share common drivers, and when the facilitating factors are present, then relationship is justified. Step 4. Select partners. Selection of a logistics or supply chain partner should be made only following very close consideration of the credentials of the most likely candidates. Step 5. Structure operating model. Structure of the relationship refers to the activities, processes, and priorities that will be used to build and sustain the relationship. Components of the operating model may include planning, joint operating controls, communication, risk and reward sharing, trust and commitment, contract style, and financial investment. Step 6. Implementation and continuous improvement. The implementation process may be relatively short, or it may be extended over a longer period of time. Future success of the relationship will be a direct function of the ability of the involved organizations to achieve both continuous and breakthrough improvement. Types of collaboration. The three important types of collaboration are vertical, horizontal, and full. Vertical collaboration refers to collaboration typically among buyers and sellers in the supply chain. This refers to the traditional linkages between firms in the supply chain, such as retailers, distributors, manufacturers, and parts and materials suppliers. Horizontal collaboration refers to a relationship that is buyer to buyer and/or seller to seller, and in some cases even between competitors. Essentially, this type of collaboration refers to business arrangement between firms that have parallel or cooperating positions in the logistics or supply chain process. Full collaboration is the dynamic combination of both vertical and horizontal collaborations. Only with full collaboration do dramatic efficiency gains begin to occur. With full collaboration, it is intended that benefits accrue to all members of the collaboration. Laws of collaborative logistics. There are 7 immutable laws of collaborative logistics that suggest how to most effectively create successful collaborative relationships. Real and recognized benefits to all members. Dynamic creation, measurement and evolution of collaborative partnerships. Co-buyer and co-supplier relationships. Flexibility and security. Collaboration across all stages of business process integration. Open integration with other services, and collaboration around essential logistics flows.
Okay ako, sir.
Game na.
Kanina pa nga okay eh.
Okay na.
Okay na.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm Emerson Benito and I'm going to discuss developing a business agreement. Okay, so first, what is a business agreement? A business contract agreement is a legally binding agreement between 2 or more persons or entities. A business agreement contract has 3 elements. Those are offer, acceptance, and consideration. In offer, it is where the part wherein there's an invitation or the offering that is offered to the other parties. And on the acceptance, it is where at the point wherein the other parties agreeing on what's being offered, on what is being offered. And lastly, in the consideration, it states that both parties are getting something. And these are the things to include in a business agreement. First is the name of the partnership. You should also include contributions to the partnership. So in business agreement, contributions to the partnership should be included because the both parties should know what are they going to contribute. Who's going to contribute cash, property, or services, etc. Next is allocation of profits, losses, and draws. So it is the idea of how the money should be distributed. Next is partnership decision making. It is stated in the agreement on how would you decide or how to decide on your business. Next is the management duties. It's also like the contributions to the partnership, but you're going to discuss on how would you agree on who's going to do the responsibilities. Next is the admitting new partners. Of course, in a business, there are times that you want to expand or your business is going to grow so you should also include admitting new partners. And lastly, resolving disputes.